Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel and another crochet tutorial and free pattern. So this pattern is for the face scrubbies or cotton pads. So these are reusable cotton pads for cleansing and things like that, which can then be washed. They can be machine washed. If you use cotton yarn that's machine washable, they can be machine washed and used again and again. So a nice wee environmentally friendly product that's going to reduce the use of the disposable cotton pads. Nice easy thing to make as well, so it works up quite quickly. You can make one within about half an hour or so, depending on how fast your crocheting speed is. If obviously it'll take longer if you're still quite new to the craft, but nice easy thing to make for something that's environmentally friendly. So this is the result of one. So we're going to make one of these together. So what you'll need is you'll need some cotton yarn in two different colours. So I've got this cream and then this nice purpley colour. They seem to make quite a good combination together. So your cotton yarn, getting cotton yarn that is suitable for machine washing really helps for this project. An appropriate sized hook. So with this yarn, which is just slightly smaller than double knit, I'm using a 4mm hook for this project, but go with what it says on the ball band. Obviously scissors to cut the yarn, and you'll need a yarn needle as well for weaving in the ends. But it's a nice easy project to get the hang of sort of circular crochet as well. So I'm going to start with this cream colour here, and then we're going to make a magic ring. So there's loads of different ways that people do this. There's lots of different techniques, so whichever one works best for you. What I typically do is just go to tie a knot but keep it open, and then put the hook through that loop and pull your working yarn up, and then grab a hold of everything in that loop and then just chain one just to secure it, and then you've got a magic ring. That's the way I do it. Other people do it differently, but whichever way works for you. So you're going to chain another one as well. So you want to do 2 chains to start this off. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do 12 half double crochets into the ring. So you want to yarn around the hook through the magic ring and then pull through all 3 loops on the hook. Just like that. So we're going to do 12 of those in this ring. Let's do 3. Let's get some yarn there. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's been a bit temperamental. So once you've done a few, I tend to just start to close the ring a bit. It just keeps things a bit easier and a bit neater. Now we've got the 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. And 12. Okay, so that's going to be that. Then you can close down the ring. And and what you want to do is slip stitch into that second chain from the beginning of that round, just like that. And you can tighten down your magic ring. You can tighten it more later. So now we are going to switch to doing double crochets. So you want to chain 3 to start this next round. But that doesn't really count as a stitch. And then you're going to do 2 double crochets into each stitch round. Oh, actually, hang on. Yeah, so do 1 in the first stitch, so your chain does count as a stitch. Oh, yeah, so your chain counts as the first stitch, and then you're doing another double crochet, and then we're doing 2 double crochets into each stitch all the way around. So you can put a stitch marker on if you find that easier. With this, because we're not working in a spiral, it's not really necessary to see where the beginning of each round is, but if it makes it easier for you, then by all means have a stitch marker on there. There's no one right way to do anything when it comes to this hobby. Everybody has their own ways of doing things, and that's okay, because I say whatever's going to work best for you is the way to do it. So just continuing these double crochets. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll stop here and then I'll come back to you when I've finished this round, okay? So that's me done the last double crochet of that second round. So to close this off, again, you're finding the top of that first chain and you're just doing a slip stitch there to join it up. So that's second round done, and then the next round we're going to do essentially pretty much the same thing again. So we're going to do double crochet stitches and we're going to do some increases. So starting off with your chain 3, which will count as your first stitch, and then we're going to do 1 double crochet into the next stitch there, and then we're going to do 1 into the next stitch after that, and then we're going to do an increase with double crochet, so that means doing 2 double crochets in the same stitch. And then we're going to do 1 double crochet in the stitch after that, and then you're going to repeat that pattern of an increase of 2 double crochets in 1 stitch, then 1 double crochet in the next stitch, and we repeat that pattern until we get to the end of the round. And you can see whether the last one, you can kind of see that there's a slightly bigger gap when you've done 2, so that helps keep you right, make sure that you're staying in the pattern, because if you get distracted for a second it can be easy to lose track of it and then you're wondering like, where am I, what's happening. So I say that it really helps, certainly for me, is to recognise what the stitches look like and what they'll look like when you've done 2 versus when you've only done 1. It really helps you keep track of where you're at in the pattern, especially if something distracts you. Being a pet owner, that can happen quite frequently. So I'm gonna leave you there and I'll come back to you again when I've finished this next round. Okay, that's us done with that last round. So again, just to finish off, you want to find the top of your initial chain and do a slip stitch just to join everything there. And then we're going to change colour at this point, so we want to cut off the yarn, leave a reasonable end so that you can weave it in properly. Or the other option you have is that you can crochet over the top of it. So that's us there, so we're going to change over to the accent colour. So you just want to join that. You can join it pretty much anywhere you like, but I usually just go into the first stitch of the round, and let's just get a reasonable size loop. Try not to knock the phone stand. So just loop there, and then I tend to grip the end so that you don't pull it all the way through. And you're going to chain one to start off this new round. So now we're going to do single crochets for the rest of this. So we're going to do 2 single crochets, so next 2 stitches single crochet, and then we're going to do an increase. So changing the when you do the increase stops it looking too kind of hexagonal, and keeps it a bit more of a round shape. So that's us done 2 single crochets and then an increase single crochet. So then we're going to do 2 again, and then we're going to do an increase, and just really repeating that pattern all the way around, and that'll give you nice accent colour around the edge. Okay, so that's 2 and then an increase again. So it's nice simple pattern, so it's quite good for practicing the different stitches and getting used to working in the round as well. Especially helpful if you are planning to start making amigurumi or start making plushies and toys, because they're all worked kind of in the round. And that can get a bit confusing when you're new to the hobby, so getting used to working in the rounds can make that much easier when you start to learn how to make more complicated shapes. So this is a really good thing to practice, and I say it's a useful item as well. So I will have some of these actually for sale on the website in the near future. And I can vouch for the way they work, because the first set I made I used myself, and they do the job really well and much better for the environment. So there's just no downside to them really. So I'll just carry on with that. Let's say 2 single crochets and then an increase. Then 2 single crochets, then increase, and I'll keep going in that vein. So the next thing that I will do is I'll do a tutorial and write up a pattern for a matching washcloth or face cloth, depending on, I guess depends where you're from, what you call it, but I tend to call it a face cloth, but I think most people elsewhere in the world would probably call it a washcloth, but I'll show you how to make one of them, and they you can make them with the same yarn, and it makes a really nice little matching set. So it's hang on, missed an increase there. That should have been, that one should have been an increase. Better. Okay, and almost there. Okay, and that's going to be just the last set there, and then here, and then when you get to the end, you want to join on to that chain with the slip stitch just to finish it off. Again, leave yourself a reasonable tail so that you can weave it in without worrying too much about the ends, and that's that done. So once it's finished, I like to just pull that first, just make sure that magic ring's closed. You might have a little bit of a gap, which isn't really a problem for this, so just have that as tight as possible. And then we're going to get our yarn needle and we're going to thread these ends in, so can finish it off. So you want to go quite a long way. So for the initial one, I tend to just pick up the back of the stitches that are in the magic ring, and you want to pick up quite a few of them if you can. I say I usually just give the needle a wee wiggle. They can be quite tight, so just take your time and gentle and even pressure, and then once you've done that, and trim it off as close as you can. So that's that part, and then do the other cream ones. So I say pull them a wee bit tight just to make sure that everything's as it should be. Then thread that needle, and generally try and find what direction it wants to go in and kind of continue in that direction, because if you try and force it to go a different direction, it's more likely to work its way out. But again, just wanting to work into the back of a few stitches along here, at least, what's that, about an inch fed through, and that's going to reduce the chances of the thread popping out. So I pull that through, and then again just trimming it as close as you can. And next we've got our two purple threads, so again just pulling them tight. And I'll thread this needle, that tail I might have left just a wee bit short. You can still make it work sometimes, but just be careful of that. As tempting as it is to try and reduce excess wastage from these things, if you leave the end too short, it can be quite difficult to make sure that you get a good finish. So just be aware of that. And then that's our final thread, so we're going to just weave that in, and then that will be everything done. So I say they're fairly quick to work up. It's maybe taking me about half an hour, probably taking me a bit longer than it normally would because I've been talking you through it, but fairly quick thing to make, so quite good for selling at markets and things as well. And I say it's a nice eco-friendly option as well, which is something that a lot of people care about, as they should. So it's it's better to have these reusable products, and because they're cotton, they hold up really well. I say I wash mine using a sort of net wash bag, and just put it in with my other washing, and they've coped well with that so far, so that should be good. So I'll just trim that off, and there we go. So hopefully that's been helpful. As always, any questions, any queries, any comments, put them in the comments below. Drop a like on the video if you like this, share it with anybody that you think would be interested, and if you want to see more crochet tutorials and things, then definitely subscribe, and you can keep an eye on my social media. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on TikTok, and you will find some random stuff on there and some behind the scenes as well, so hopefully that will be helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.